Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and Spider-Man No Way Home's Oscar-nominated visual effects are now getting a closer look thanks to behind-the-scenes interviews by the artists who worked on this film, proving how Tom Holland is really the little punk in the trampoline park dodgeball court who's impossible to hit. Stand still, you little twerp. And now being revealed are all kinds of amazing little details that otherwise we never would have seen in this film that just make it love it even more. So I'm gonna break them all down. My favorite new detail comes up in the film's final battle in the shot where Andrew and Toby mask up and split up. Now, pre-VFX footage shows the shot when the camera glides away from the actors on the scaffolding, except notice they are pantomiming pulling their masks over their faces. No actual masks in their hands. In the final shot, their masks were composited digitally. I still love it though, because the smoothness and the timing of their gesture was just so perfect for two Spideys who have had to quickly mask up dozens or hundreds of times in their lives. And the costume designer, Sanja Milkovich-Hayes, explained why this could not be done practically.
A mask is an intricate part of the costume, and they have skull caps that are molded to their heads, so they are not wearing it just over their bare head. Those are intricate to make it as tight as possible, not to add to any of the volume of the skull necessarily, but keep the shape and the profile. And then we have a special costume when they are supposed to be without the mask. Then it's, as we call it, a turtleneck costume, and then they are in a costume without the hood. All those hoods have a frame for the eyes to literally snap into them, and there are different kinds of eyes.
And folks, I've tried it. It's not easy to do this quickly. I am amazing! But let's rewind to the moment Peter leaves the sanctum and the door's shut in his face.
Are you telling me that you didn't even think to plead your case with him first before you asked me to brainwash the entire world?
Well, I mean, when you put it like that, then...
The movie's VFX supervisor, Kelly Port, revealed that on this day on the set, they only had the doorway of the sanctum and they had to composite the walls and the windows behind it down the street. He also pointed to the extras in the cars that you can see behind Peter further down the street.
Some of these pedestrians are digital pedestrians, and some of them are extras that were shot on blue screen. It's a combination of both.
And when you look at this scene in high definition, you can see how the two women closer to Tom look more lifelike, like extra shot on a blue screen, and indeed they do look a bit composited in the background there. But the other man walking away from us, further behind, super out of focus, is a CGI character. But again, the fact that we don't even notice this while we watch the movie is the point. They just needed crowds and motion in the background to make the city feel like a city, and it totally works. Port also revealed that on the other end of this call, Flash Thompson at that MIT mixer was also a composited shot because Tony Revolori wasn't available, so they had to shoot him on a blue screen plate. So the fact that both sides of this phone call had to be reconstructed in some way with VFX, when they definitely previously had a full sanctum edifice for other shots of the movie, plus Tony Revolori's scheduling issues with the MIT mixer setup, tell us that this whole phone call was probably part of reshoots after their main sets were dismantled and actors moved on to other projects. Which makes sense if you think about it. Peter getting from the sanctum to find the ABC on the bridge was all just a bit of rushed A to B exposition in that first act, and you can actually see where they inserted new ADR audio for Flash earlier on to set this up.
You guys didn't get in?
Yeah, because we're actually friends with Spider-Man.
Yeah. I better get going. There's a mixer for new admissions, and sorry guys.
So that brings us to the bridge battle, which is most impressive to break down to learn how much of the stunts Tom Holland did himself. When he first lands on that pole, Kelly Port confirmed that Tom himself did that landing for reference, wearing his wrinkled suit, which Peter as a character was wearing underneath the armor the whole scene, and making it super wrinkled was apparently Tom's idea. Tom also did the drop from the overhang into the roll on the ground. And then later, this is insane, Tom did the whole run from Doc Ock's claws, springing off the hood of a car, running over to another car, kicking off from another car onto a trampoline! 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 Trampoline!
He said what now?
And then flips, and then rolls, and then runs over to the ABC's car. And by the way, later in the movie, when Peter tries to escape Strange with the box, but then flips through a portal and lands on a moving car, and then flips off of that, that was another stunt that Tom did himself, practicing it over and over again with the Wire team. Really, all of these stunts gave the film's VFX crew and the other actors a reference point so that Spider-Man in this movie, whenever we see him, would match Tom Holland's specific movement, his timing, his acting, his franticness that he plays everything with. It's just one of the things that has made his version of Spider-Man feel so authentic whenever we see him and so fun to watch. We know this is always the same kid. Yeah, I know I can seem kind of wound up as I'm going through these theories and Easter eggs. So to relax, I like having a nice glass of wine after a hard day. I especially like having a glass that someone else has done the work of picking out just for me. Well, Bright Cellars matches your preferences to the perfect wines from around the world. You take their simple 7-question quiz and then they ship you a customized box of wine right to your door. Each box comes with these cool wine educator cards that teach you all about the wine. Here's the box I got this month. What do we got in it? This month's box includes the Cabin 5. According to the card, this Zinfandel is like a rich strawberry jam with ripe fruit flavors contrasting beautifully with the notes of freshly cracked black pepper. Velvety texture with silky tannins. I think I'm just gonna walk around the apartment with this bottle like a pirate. Pirate with great taste. I've received a bunch of boxes from Bright Cellars over the past year, and based on my feedback, they've adjusted the wines that they send me. Every time I get something new, I always enjoy them. Their selection includes wines beyond your typical grocery store wine with sustainable varieties and biodynamic wines. Bright Cellars is giving our viewers 50% off their first 6-bottle box. That's 6 bottles for just $45. Crazy good value. Support the channel by following the link to take the quiz and get started today. Kelly Port also pointed out how they had to change the green route sign to add JFK Airport, even though this isn't on the sign on the Brooklyn-Queens Expressway, to indicate that that's where the ABC was headed toward. He also confirmed some of the Easter eggs that we spotted in the scene, the nod to Stan Lee's birthday on the taxi cab, the delayed Daily Bugle live feed on the girl's tablet, and the changing of the lights of Doc Ock's claws from red to blue to white throughout the film to signal his control over them. But also, as he wipes from the practical shots to the VFX, notice how the license plate numbers on the cars always change. Now, they shot this movie in Atlanta, so all these New York plates were custom made anyway, but they always swap out the numbers so that they can hide in their Easter egg codes, confirming the ones that I spotted, the anagram for Spidey's, and the nods to the debut comic issues of Doc Ock and Lizard. All these were not coincidental, my friends. But then Kelly Port pointed out this shot.
Are you okay? No!
Which is just a great example of multiple components working together. Paula Newsome's terrified performance because she did not like being suspended like this. And then in the reflection of the car's window, they added in Doc Ock creeping up behind Peter. And then when Doc Ock tries to stab Peter in the chest, they had Tom wear a patch of his wrinkled suit costume over his fractal suit in order to best capture the motion of the dangling necktie. Now, it was actually revealed that one original conception for the scene that they actually prevised out would have shown Peter fighting Goblin here, whipping the glider out from under him, causing Goblin to crash through a sign, and then the glider to hit Doc Ock. Now, Kelly Port oversaw all the different VFX teams that worked on different parts of the movie. One of those companies was Digital Domain. They did a lot of the effects on the Multiverse Men and Happy's condo. Specifically, the shot when Sandman sits on the couch and tries to wipe the sand away.
Oh, sorry.
If you look closely on Flint's second wipe, he actually spills more sand on the cushion from his own hand. And their footage also shows how the golden integrated suit created when Doc Ock returns Peter's nanotech to him was all added in VFX. Tom was actually wearing his normal Far From Home era red and black suit throughout the movie's final act, and for every single shot, they had to VFX the gold parts of it over him. But in this shot, where he perches on Goblin's shoulders punching him, in addition to the golden parts of the suit, they also added a bit of thickness to Tom's arm and his shoulders. I mean, the guy's already in great shape, but I think they wanted him to look even more aggro as he wailed on Goblin. And a fun detail here that I just spotted: when Electro summons the arc reactor from the other room, he's only able to do that so quickly before Peter's able to react because the fabricator had previously knocked a hole through the kitchen wall. I just like when gags early in a movie are repurposed later in the movie for actual key plot implications. Now, one last detail hinted by Kelly Port about Goblin's glider.
Glider was slightly adjusted to be as similar as possible from a profile perspective, but we did take some liberties and just design choices to Gotta improve it a little incrementally, a little bit.
And you can actually see those design changes in the final fight when Peter lifts the glider, trying to kill Goblin with it. Compared to the 2002 film, they made this whole glider a bit smaller and thinner, something easier for Tom to lift and weaponize in this critical moment. But they also made the frontal blades a bit more retracted than they would normally be. Normally they stick out like 1.5 feet from the front of the glider. Here they just stick out a few inches, so that Toby could catch this glider and have this really close, intimate face-to-face moment with Tom without those blades stabbing him right in the face. Now again, huge congratulations to the entire crew of this film. The VFX artists and animators, the costumers, the props, the stunt coordinators, the special effects crew, everyone! Because the more we learn about all of your hard work, all the artistry that went in behind the scenes of this movie, the more reasons we find to love this film. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss, follow New Rockstars, subscribe to New Rockstars for more analysis of everything you love. Thanks for watching, bye.